Okay. Hi, guys. Welcome to your beautiful podcast with Dr. Leah. Today we have Stephanie. I'm so excited. It's been a long journey trying to figure out all the time zones to connect. I'm based in Chicago. She's based in Australia. So, well, first of all, I will let you speak. Where are you based in Australia? And also tell a little bit about yourself and also about your journey with psoriasis.
Of course. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to be on your podcast. So I'm from Melbourne in Australia. So at the moment it's 11 a.m. here, and I think it's nighttime for you, isn't it?
It's evening, yes. So I'm trying
Yeah.
to look presentable.
No, you look beautiful. So I've had psoriasis for about 12 years now, and it's been a roller coaster journey. It's been so up and down, but I finally come to like a place where I'm sort of at peace with it, and I'm able to, control it and maintain it to some degree. And Instagram, like having an Instagram platform has definitely helped, and I've connected with so many wonderful people, and it's just helped me as a person to like accept my skin and just be more confident with it.
Yeah, that's great. It's I've spoken to now so many people, and you know how we all say now like that, oh, social media is so bad and so horrible, but many of us who've suffered with psoriasis or any other autoimmune conditions or skin conditions say it's actually been a blessing, especially when you felt so down, and then like you started an Instagram where you're so honest and open about your journey, right? And it's inspiring
Definitely.
people. Can you talk a little bit about how you think your psoriasis was triggered and how your life maybe changed? Like I had my psoriasis since I was 6 years old, so I almost don't know life without psoriasis.
Wow. Yeah, that's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's kind of good because it's kind of like you almost feel like you're born with it. So it's kind of your
You didn't
life.
know. Yeah, you didn't know life
You don't know
before it.
any better, right? But many people I'm speaking with, they've developed it when they were like 14, 15, 16, which is like, I can't even imagine what it must have been, to develop it then. So how, like what, without of course telling your age, but like what was you think trigger? Because many people ask like, why did I develop this? How did it come to life?
Oh
And you
no,
felt,
it's one of those strange things. So I got it when I was in high school, and I was 16, almost turning 17. And I still don't know what triggered it, because I don't think at that point in time that I was like overly stressed or anything. But I do think that it could have had something to do with, I had in high school I used to get tonsillitis all the time, and like get sore throats and stuff like that. And I remember I reckon it was just before I actually got psoriasis. I had a really bad case of tonsillitis, where they said if you get it one more time, you're gonna have to get your tonsils removed. And I had to have like an antibiotic injection, which then ended up getting rid of my tonsillitis. And then like I haven't had it since. But I don't know if it has anything to do with that, with my tonsils always being inflamed, like, and maybe that caused it. But I mean, we'll never know, will we? But I know that, I don't know if you've done any research with there's people out there who have actually gotten their tonsils removed. Have you heard this?
I have not. I should look into this because I've heard from a lot of people that they, like mine was triggered, well, you never know, with vaccine, but it was not a vaccine. I mean, I believe in vaccines. I love vaccines. I think we
What
should
vaccine
all.
was it? Do you know?
I think it was like MMR. I don't even know. In US, it's MMR, so it's measles, rubella.
Okay.
It's like it because it's a live vaccine, and
Oh, okay.
but also
Yeah.
it had a lot of preservatives in it.
Did
So
you get it straight after that vaccine?
it was on the spot of the vaccine or where they administered it.
Wow.
It was
Oh
like
my
around,
God.
and we're like, oh, what's that? Okay, oh, it will go away. And then like, oh, one more spot. And we're like, oh, it's not going away. So, and it's
Did
probably,
Sorry, did anyone else in your family have the same reaction?
No. So I did, so you know, like autoimmune disease runs in the family, right? So
Yeah, okay.
yes, my grandpa had psoriasis, my grandma had eczema, like my husband has asthma and psoriasis, our 4-year-old has eczema. It's kind of like this autoimmune diseases, they just run in the families, right? So, but at the end, you don't know what causes it. Like but a lot of people like you, they come and say, I had a strep throat, you know, and then so it's kind of a gut effect that your microbiome or gut flora is disturbed. It's not in balance, right? Like predominance of one bacteria is more than the other, and it could possibly trigger it. You could be predisposed with it. We don't really know what causes it, right? We know that there are a lot of inflammatory conditions that happen in people, and then it's not just one. I see a lot of people, like I work with a lot of people who have celiac disease, and they have also eczema and they have psoriasis. So people have psoriasis and they have like Hashimoto, or they have thyroid, you know, and it's all inflammatory. So we never
definitely.
know, but everyone always says, oh, I know I had this event happen to me. And I even had people saying I was in a car accident.
And they've had like post-traumatic stress and it's caused it. Yeah, I've heard of that before.
Exactly. We don't know, but they say I had a car accident. I had so much stress, physical and emotional, and suddenly I was covered in psoriasis.
There's definitely people, exactly. There's definitely people who have like a huge trauma in their life and then they develop it. It's interesting that you mentioned it with the vaccine, because I now might actually have a look back on my medical records and see like if I had any vaccines close to the time that I developed psoriasis.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah. And, you know, and I, you know, being a healthcare professional, I said, no, vaccines are good. You know, I always get my flu shot, but I always go to my doctor and say, okay, is this flu shot? I mean, I can't have any preservatives. It needs to be, you know, that it cannot be live. So yeah, so and I know I never have any effects, but I always very cautious. I know when I had my first child, she's now 12, and when she was born, they said like, oh, you don't have rubella vaccination, which I'm like, okay, how is that even possible? Somehow I didn't have antibodies. So like, okay, be careful. So after I had her, I had my vaccine for MMR, and that also triggered huge psoriasis. And even so that I remember for 3 months, in every morning, I couldn't move my joints, like my arms, my legs. I had to like, it was so stiff. I was like, okay, my God, what's happening? Is like arthritis. I'm like 25, what's going on, you know?
Oh my God.
So yeah, but you know, again, it's because it was a live vaccine. There were some preservatives. It was some time ago. So at the end, you never know, right? So it's interesting that you say it could be, you know, tonsils, so it could be anything else.
Well, yeah, so I didn't really know about the whole tonsil thing. But I've had a few people contact me on Instagram and say that they got their tonsils removed, because it's not usually advised by like most doctors and medical professionals to get that done. But a few different people I've spoken to, their skin doctors or whatever they were, recommended it. They got their tonsils removed, and like within like 2 to 3 weeks their symptoms lessened, and now like they're left with like only 95% clear, like it's almost all gone.
Wow. So did you have your tonsils removed or not?
I haven't, no. Like it's such a big procedure to get done, and imagine if it doesn't work. So I looked into it, but I have spoken to a few doctors about it, and they're like, we don't like recommend it. There's been a little bit of research around it, but it's interesting. It's definitely interesting.
It is interesting. It's and so what have you, so 12 years, right? And then what have you tried? Because also many people, like I've tried everything from like diets, cutting everything, eating ice, you know, like basically like ice cubes. I'm living on ice cubes, to different mats, you know, and like now I'm on biologics, it works, which is great, but you know, it works until it doesn't, right? So you never know. What have you tried, and what, like from diet, from stress relief, meditation, medicines that have worked?
So I've like since for the last 12 years, I have tried lots of different things. So I started with, I mean, I think that when everyone gets diagnosed, the one thing that they give you is like steroid cream and steroid tablets.
Yes.
So that was sort of what I began with. But like with that, I found for me, it was like a Band-Aid fix. So if I stopped taking those tablets, it would just come back, and it would come back worse than what it was. And the creams would like take the pigmentation out of my skin, because I go quite brown in the sun, and then I'd have like literally like bleach white spots on my skin. And I just thought like that can't be good. And then I've like done heaps of natural stuff. Like I've been to like naturopaths, and during that journey, I actually found out I was allergic to eggs. And like, yeah, I was eating eggs every single day, and I was wondering why I wasn't feeling that great, and I was getting an upset stomach, and that my skin was worsening, and it was because I'm actually intolerant to eggs. So I cut eggs out of my diet, and that helped a little bit. But for me, the main, like I never say to anyone like one thing is going to help you. If you want to try and do the natural way, you need to like stay hydrated and drink heaps of water. For me, like avoiding nightshades and any animal products, so eating like a pretty strict vegan diet with like little to no processed foods, you literally, like, I see results almost instantly. Although I must admit, the first time you do it, you'll get a really bad like detox phase where your skin gets way worse before it gets any better. But it just takes time, all of these things. And then at the moment, I'm taking these herbal supplements. It's called, there's a brand called, sorry, I'm just trying to think if I've got my thing near me. It's called X. So there's a clinic near me, just a local clinic called the Psoriasis and Eczema Clinic. And I did a consult with them, and they gave me like this herbal stuff that you take in the morning, and then you take 2 capsules in the morning and 2 capsules at night. It's all natural, and in it is like, you know, there's like garlic, there's like so many natural things. And for me, that's helped. It's meant to sort of like, but it works in conjunction with healthy eating. So they also say to you, okay, like avoid this, this, and this. And yeah, it's definitely helped. I'll share like the link with you.
That'll be great. That'll be great, because I'm actually talking with someone on, I think, coming Wednesday, and she's a health coach, and she has psoriasis, and she said for like, I'm probably wrong, but she's saying, I think for 5 weeks she ate like a lot of garlic, and it like cleared her skin completely, you know.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
For some, like different herbs. I think it's like I'm taking like ashwagandha, and you know, and I can also share a lot of different things. I don't know if it's helping or not, because I'm also on biologics, but I think,
yeah, definitely.
So do you think, so vegan diet, right? So I think it's very interesting, because there are a lot of people who have psoriasis. So a lot of health coaches say vegan diet is bad for psoriasis. But a lot of
I think I think it depends. Like, you've obviously got to do your research, and you can't, like, I have to avoid eggplant. I have to avoid tomatoes, which I love. I have to avoid like capsicum, like peppers, some spices like cayenne pepper are not good for it. So anything that's a nightshade, it actually like makes inflammation worse. So I think sometimes people will try a vegan diet and they might eat like, you know, lots of tomato based things, and it's like, well, no wonder it's not good for your skin. And I think you have to go through that period of at least a month where, I know for like the first 2 weeks your skin's very inflamed and red, but it's just literally like your body detoxing. And it really improves like your digestion and everything. I for me personally, I think that it's the way to go, but everyone's different and everyone's bodies are different. That's another thing. Just because something works for me doesn't mean that it's going to work for every single person that has psoriasis. But I mean, I always recommend people giving it a go. At least do it for a month and see how you feel, because I can guarantee you'll feel so much better.
Yeah. So did you also cut out, so you basically cut out, of course, eggs, but also dairy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I
Mhm.
didn't really eat that much dairy anyway. Um, I already drink like a oat milk or an almond milk. I don't really drink. The only time I would have dairy is if it was a bit of a cheese on something like pizza or whatever. But I wasn't like drinking cow's milk every day or anything like that. So that wasn't hard for me to give up. I think now we have so many substitutes. Like there's I don't know if you've heard of obviously the Beyond Burger.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you tried one?
I did. I do it. Actually, I just had it for dinner today.
Yeah, like
Yes.
you can barely taste the difference. And I know
Yeah.
that in America you guys have the Impossible Burger too.
Yes.
I reckon that is we don't have that here in Australia, but I had it when I was in America and I was like, you cannot tell the difference at
You
all.
cannot. No. And it's actually, I like it better than a normal burger. So I like,
Yeah, you don't
but
feel
you
terrible
don't
after it.
feel, no, and you feel great and you feel light. So it's interesting. I grew up in the Netherlands. So for me, giving
Oh
up
wow.
is so hard because I grew up like drinking milk and
Yeah.
eating cheese, so I'm like, oh my
Mhm.
God, it's just like it's hard. But and so for many people in US also it's hard. But I think yeah, it's I always say like, oh, I want to feel better tomorrow, tonight, and not eat instead of feeling
Mm.
worse by just that 5 minutes pleasure. Um
100%. And it's not
yeah,
worth like I know that, if I have takeaway and have, a burger and fries, I'm gonna feel crap after it. And
yeah,
I regret it instantly. But whatever, yeah. It's hard though, because you set in your ways and you're so used to eating a certain way. And
yeah.
I think society as well, like, you know, everyone's eating cheese platters when you go and have like some social drinks and like it's but I think plant-based stuff and like veganism is becoming more and more popular.
It is, it is.
There's so
So
many vegan alternatives.
it is, especially now, and I think in US, and I work here, at least here in the US, I work with the like Veg News. It's like it's one of the biggest vegan magazines here in US, and
Oh, cool.
I think it's a lot of, yes, you're right. There are so many alternatives and so many, at least in US, there are so many great restaurants where you can eat vegan.
Mm.
So how about gluten, right? Because when you eat vegan, you probably eat breads and other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've never gone like completely gluten free. Like I've cut it down, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't think for myself I have a reaction to it unless I'm eating like way too much of it. If I go somewhere and there's a gluten free alternative, then of course. But some gluten free things are awful. Like
I
I don't
know,
know
I
that
know.
maybe they're better in the US, but they're not very good here.
I know, I know.
Um,
Yeah, I know. Same here because we like I have a lot of people I work with who have celiac disease, and of course I
mm,
think a lot of things with almond flour that you can make is great, but at
yeah.
some point, yeah, like I try to stay gluten free, but I feel a lot of people with psoriasis say eliminating gluten helped.
Yeah, I think it
Uh,
helps for sure, but I think I don't know. It's so hard to give up gluten, I reckon, because like bread is so nice. But I don't know about in America, but in Australia, if you go to like a restaurant or a cafe and you get a gluten-free option, it costs more money.
it
Is
is
that the same?
much more. It's much
It's
more
so
money.
expensive. Like if you have
Yes,
an allergy, it's so unfair that you've got to pay so much extra for like a gluten-free base of your pizza.
it is.
It's
It's
ridiculous.
so much more. It's so much more. And it's like we have now all this birthday parties for the kids, and it's always like, oh, this has this allergy, this has this allergy. So I'm like, I'm trying to get it, and it's all in different sections, and so like 5 times more expensive than normal
Wow.
cake. So but it's I think, of course, if it's like if you have celiac, if it's a true condition, right, then it's just super dangerous. Like I have
Yeah, you would never even touch it.
you
Yeah.
can't even touch it. I know people who are so sensitive that even if it's in the air, if they come to like
Oh wow.
it's in the air, they just get nauseous. They really feel bad. So for you, because I know you obviously advocate a lot for psoriasis journey. You
Mhm.
really put yourself out there, and you seem very positive, and you seem like you have figured out what works and what doesn't work for you. But I'm sure you still have like dark days where you think, oh my God, it's flaring up. Why is it flaring up? What do
For
you do
sure.
those days? How do you keep yourself up?
So I think for me, when I have those days, it's usually self-inflicted. Like, as in, if I have a really bad week of, say, like I've gone and had like consumed a lot of alcohol that week and bad foods, because I think when you drink alcohol, it gets combined with bad food,
Yeah.
and you kind of break your diet and ruin your health kick. That's when my skin starts to suffer, and I'm like, ugh, it's my own fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course, I have terrible days where I'll go, why have I got like all these patches when I've been doing the right thing and been exercising and
Eating
ticking all the
healthy.
boxes? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I've sort of, I don't know if it's because I've gotten a bit older, but I don't know, I don't care as much as what I used to care, like what people think. I'm
Mhm.
not like ashamed of it anymore. Like if someone on the street said to me, like, what's on your skin? I'd be like, it's psoriasis. Like, you know.
Good for you. Do they know what it is even? They were like, what's that?
Well, I know exactly. Like, I think that there's becoming a little bit more awareness around it, but it's still one of those things where I wish people wouldn't even ask. They shouldn't even be asking. It's so rude.
It is. It is. And I always say, I was speaking with someone also yesterday, and she said, I just told my coworkers, I have psoriasis, so you don't need to stare at me. You don't have to stare at my patches.
Yeah, I
I have
know.
it. It's fine. It's not contagious. It's just my skin. So, but it's still hard. And I think especially for people who are diagnosed with psoriasis older in life, it's suddenly like, what's happening to me? Why is it happening to me? And how do I
Mm.
explain it? Right?
And like, is it going to go away? Like it's definitely one of those things that you
Yeah.
don't know. I think that it's always going to come and go in people's lives.
Yeah. And especially, it's like you said, it seems you're doing everything right. Like it's a good diet, it's exercise, and then it still happens. And it's like, because I know I have a week where I eat right, I don't drink too much. And I'm like, and it still comes back. And I'm like, why is it coming back? I'm doing everything right. I'm
Mm.
going to binge now, binge it, because who cares, right?
I do the same thing. I'm like, well, nothing's working, so whatever. I'm just gonna like for the next 10 days do whatever I want to do. But I think that you've also got to like live your life. Like you can't live too strict. You still got to have some days where you go, you know what, today I don't care about my diet. I'm going to eat whatever. And I have those days for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, I regret them, but at the time, you need it just for your mental health. And if you're like, I'm such a foodie, I love my food. So I need to have those days or those weeks where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to eat whatever. And
Yeah.
yeah, my skin can just deal with it.
Yeah, and that's good to hear. And sometimes I feel like because it's a lot of like brain, gut, skin
Mm,
connection, right? So it's all connected. So
yeah.
if I feel happy, if I have less stress, right? It's kind of all will be okay. Um,
Yeah.
so, and another question. So, I'm in Chicago. We are just
Mhm.
recovering from the most horrible winter. For three
Oh
weeks, we
no,
had like polar vortex. Are you in Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Celsius.
Celsius. So we had minus 25 Celsius.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
in a wind. So I would like go from my house to my work, and I would be like, everything is like sucked out of my skin. It's so dry.
Oh,
Uh,
that's awful.
it's awful. And I speak with a lot of people, and they say, "Oh my God, I need to move to a warmer climate because my skin feels better." And for me, the same when I'm in the dry and very
Yeah,
sunny and warm climate. Obviously, you're in
me
Australia,
too.
so it's probably always warm and dry.
Well, I'm in Melbourne, so I'm at the bottom of Australia. So it's like in the summer we can get to like 45 degrees Celsius.
But it's
So it gets
dry,
like
right?
you get humid and dry days, but I
Yeah.
don't really like them. My skin doesn't really like the humidity, but like getting my skin in the sunshine is amazing. That really helps. But
Mhm.
we like, I live in Melbourne, so I don't know if you've heard much about Melbourne, but we have the craziest weather. Like we have like 4 seasons in one day.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
even if it's like 40 degrees one day, the next day might be like 15. So it's like
Yeah.
really, really up and down. But it doesn't like snow where I live or anything like that. So it doesn't get into the minus.
Mhm.
But yeah, in the winter, my skin does suffer a little bit more than what it does in the summer.
Mhm.
So I definitely feel your pain. That sounds horrific.
It's horrible. I'm like,
I
especially like I
know.
grew up in like Netherlands. I'm telling my husband, we have to move to California. We have to, or Australia, whatever. We have to move something
Yeah.
warm.
I feel like the California weather would be perfect for
Oh yes,
psoriasis,
it's
wouldn't
like
it?
San Diego, or but yeah, you need to
Mm,
like have a job there, and you know, it's
yeah,
all
I know.
related, right? So,
I know.
yeah, this is so great. So I have I know we're talking for so long. I could have like talking for you for like many more hours.
I
So
know.
in terms of like what advice, because you've been living with it and you're very active, of course, on your social media and you're really advocating, what advice do you have to like our listeners who are trying and cannot find what works for them, or just really people who are just recently diagnosed with psoriasis?
I would just say that don't beat yourself up. And also, you're not the only one in the world that's got it. Like, go on Instagram or YouTube and you will find other people that are like in the exact same position as you. Don't be afraid to try new things and try diets. Probably refrain from spending like thousands of dollars on lots and lots of new skincare. I think just go back to basics and listen to your
Yes.
body. Fruit and veggies are not expensive. I mean, organic ones are, but you don't have to spend heaps and heaps of money. I think you just need to like take one day at a time and start a process of elimination. If you're going to go down the diet road, of changing your diet around, do what works for you. The same thing's not gonna, sorry, for the same thing is not going to work for everyone. So just remember that like you're an individual and everyone's got, different factors of maybe why they got it too. So I don't know. I would just say like try and remain positive and interact with people on social media too, because that helps. It can be like a form of therapy for some people.
Yeah, you're
Mm.
right. It's actually I've been speaking with someone actually yesterday, and she also said social media saved my life
Mm.
when I was
Yeah.
down,
Oh, yeah.
almost bedridden, and I also say like go on social media and share your experiences. And I think many people are afraid to
Put themselves out there.
right. It's hard. It is very, very, very hard. But I think like you will receive so much love,
Mm.
and I
Definitely.
think that will help a lot. So no, that's great. So where can people find you? I have what you wrote to me, so I will definitely post it on YouTube and Instagram and on LinkedIn. But anything else that where they can find you, anything else that you do for like psoriasis community?
I've got my Instagram, my YouTube, but I've also created an Instagram called the Global Psoriasis Diary. And
Okay.
it's a space where people can send a video in and share their story. And it doesn't, well, there's not really any criteria for it. You can just, if you're having a bad day or if you're having a good day and you want to share something with other people that, know exactly how you're feeling, then that's what it's designed for. And it's just designed for like anyone, like any race from anywhere in the world, with psoriasis. So um, if you want to share your video, please DM the video to the page and we'll post it. And yeah, it might be your first video you've ever done, but it'll be well received and it'll make you feel better. And I found that posting on social media makes me feel like accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm starting a diet, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to start a diet. And then, it just kind of holds me more accountable than if I wasn't sharing it with anyone. So it
Yeah,
keeps me going.
it is. And I think
Yeah.
you are so right. And I think acknowledging that it is super scary, right? To post it, to do it, because
Yeah.
like you know, I'm sharing my arm or leg or me, right, about me, that my friends might not know, right, that I'm suffering from this. But I think exactly like you said, you will receive all the love in the world, and I think that's,
Totally.
yeah, exactly. That's great. Oh,
It's
I
worth
love
it.
it. So I think like my last question, and you know, I love everything you do, and I'm like, it's also great to just connect with people, because psoriasis is not prevalent in one part of the world, right? It's everywhere. Like I'm speaking with somebody yesterday from UK, you are in Australia, I'm in US. So I think it's a truly global community, and
100%.
right, and it's great that we are supporting each other. So in terms of you and everything you do, what is your superpower?
Oh, that's a hard one. Um, like, do you mean just with psoriasis and everything I sort of do? What's my like?
Anything,
Um,
yes. I think you as a human being, and you know, very often we feel when we have psoriasis, it's almost like defines you, but it doesn't.
mm,
I'm not my psoriasis.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
So what is your
Yeah,
superpower as a human being?
I would say I've just become like really resilient, you know,
That's amazing.
and
I love it.
yeah, and just I think if you've got psoriasis, you can handle anything.
Oh, I love it. And I think that's so true, because you say, oh, well, that's like so minor, right? And I deal with this, and it's an
Mm,
almost constant battle with yourself and figuring out yourself, while many people probably don't get to do that. So I
yeah,
think,
definitely.
and like you said, I mean, resiliency is great in everything, right? That's like the superpower, I feel.
Yeah, I think so, definitely.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. Oh my God, I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so
Me
much. I know
too.
it's like your Sunday morning, so thank you for taking time and, you know, connecting with us. I'll be posting this video, will go up next week. And you know, guys,
Awesome.
follow us. I will be, you know, putting it all, follow Stephanie and everything that she does. And it's CF psoriasis, right, on Instagram.
Yeah,
I will post it all out. So follow Stephanie. Please follow us also for more stories and for more videos. And thank you so much for listening.